Rani Bagh is the popular name for Veermata Jijabai Bhosale Botanical Udyan and Zoo. It started life in 1861. It was established in 1861, inaugurated in 1862, November 19. It was the garden of the Agri-Horticultural Society of Western India. It was established as a botanical garden. Now, almost 30 years later, in 1890, 15 acres were added and a small zoo segment was introduced, just to add to the pageantry of nature there. Try to imagine that this is the first grand project that is undertaken by the then British administration. This precedes every grand building that you see in South Bombay, all the colonial structures, BT station, the BMC headquarters, High Court, GPO, everything. So the first grand project is Victoria Museum and Gardens, and it's inaugurated in November 19th, 1862. Now, the zoo and the large botanical garden occupies 68% of the total area. The zoo segment occupies only 18% of the total area, and the rest is taken up by pathways and buildings and other amenities. Now, why is this such an iconic place? Why is it so worthy of admiration? Why is it so worthy of preservation? Okay, first, it's Mumbai's largest green public space by far. All right. So when you see that it's an area of 60 acres, try to imagine that this is so valuable. It's such a massive green lung when you consider that the open public space to citizen ratio is abysmal in Bombay. By BMC's very own standards, it's 1.24 square meters per person. And this is the available public space, not the accessible public space. The Ministry of Urban Affairs says it should be 10 to 12 square meters per person. WHO says it should be 9 square meters, which brings us to Rani Bagh's second very most important attribute, which is that people need to be out in the open. And not now, since inception, on an average 8,000 people visit Rani Bagh. On public holidays, 30 to 40,000 people visit Rani Bagh. It has been a welcoming haven, an egalitarian place for people from all walks of life. That is another great attribute. That's the second most important attribute. The third is that it is the only heritage botanical garden in Mumbai. And by that, it's an award-winning botanical garden. By that, we have to understand that it's the largest agglomeration of trees in Mumbai city, in the island city. 4,131 trees is not something to be sneezed at. It's the largest species diversity. 256 species is a remarkable figure. You try to understand that in the sense that 256 species counts for 80% of the tree species found in the whole of the city. So 80 species are categorized as rare. 80% of the tree species are found here by the BMC survey. These are not our figures, which brings us to another wonderful point, which is that it has been used since inception as an open-air laboratory for students of botany. Today, 50 colleges that offer botany as a subject come here for their field work, because where else will you find so many species at one location? Let's go back to February 2007. The BMC announces a grand plan to set up an international standard zoo in Rani Bagh. They announce a price tag of 433 crore. They go to town with, articles coming in the press saying that there will be an Indian Ocean, there will be the creation of an Indian Ocean, there will be an Australian segment, an African segment, an Indian segment, there will be a night safari, there will also be a fine dining restaurant from where patrons can dine and wine and look at cheetahs, if you please, outside bulletproof glass. We being nature lovers, we knowing that, there are so many precious trees here and it's such a wonderfully laid out botanical garden, we were shocked. We said there's no treeless space to build all this. All right. And so to cut a long story short, we established ourselves into a group. We used the RTI Act very effectively and we started getting documents. We approached professionals to help us analyze, engineers, architects, heritage specialists, who are our friends and who became our friends also. So we analyzed the documents, and our worst fears were belied. They planned to do extensive construction work in this place. So we put forward our demands, to put it very briefly, that the character of the botanical gardens should be preserved, that the zoo segment should not be allowed to cannibalize the botanical garden, that the reason for setting up Victoria Gardens itself was to establish a botanical garden. All right. And so we said that you renovate the animal enclosures at the existing footprint. Do not touch the pathways, because the pathways are laid out in a certain design. If you try to imagine, the existing pathways are 6.4 kilometers. That whole network of pathways was sought to be truncated to 2.4 kilometers. Try to imagine 8,000 people, 40,000 people on holidays. Where would they have gone? So we were concerned that not only would the botanical garden be destroyed, but also that after such a heavy price tag, the entry ticket would become expensive, and it would turn a egalitarian haven where people from all walks of life can come and do come into something exclusive. It would have become a kind of synthetic Disney style, chakachak zoo, which is what we were trying to oppose. We used all democratic means at our disposal. We used the RTI Act, which was a very invaluable tool. We visited 6 municipal commissioners, innumerable additional municipal commissioners. We went to the Central Zoo Authority in Delhi. We approached the Mumbai Heritage Conservation Committee. We met 4 chiefs of the Mumbai Heritage Conservation Committee till the end. And we knocked on the doors of the Bombay High Court. Our strength lay in getting the documents, analyzing them, presenting them, and creating a record. So finally, I can just cite 2 milestones, which is in 2011, the Heritage Committee, Mumbai Heritage Conservation Committee, rejected one plan. Then in 2014, they rejected another plan. Finally, in March 2016, the then Municipal Commissioner agreed to modify the plan to suit our concerns. And so from March 2016 till, you can say, the present day, but at least till before the lockdown, we were there present on the ground where animal enclosures were renovated in situ at the existing footprint. And through rain and shine, we pointed out that there's debris here, that it shouldn't be put here, that certain precious trees should be encircled with cages. And we are very happy that all the pathways are retained, all the internal gardens are retained, and that not a single tree has been harmed in the process of renovation of the existing animal enclosures. We want to have greater public engagement with the botanical garden. We want to have citizens, especially young people and children, feel pride and happiness in this unique space. And to that end, we've put up a lot of tree information plaques, general information plaques. We also want to really promote the heritage aspect. So in that regard also, we've put up some information plaques. We've brought out a book called Rani Bagh 150 Years in 2012. This book was published jointly by our foundation, National Society of the Friends of the Trees, and BNHS. My fellow colleague, and friend Shubhada Nikharge and I edited the book and wrote a few chapters in it also. In 2013, we brought out a Marathi translation called Rani Bagh 150 Varshe. So these were very important milestones for us. In 2020, we also brought out a short documentary film in English. In 2021, we followed it up with a Marathi narration. And we have been, very, very happy that in the last few years, we've been able to do the things that we always wanted to do rather than just the grinding and frustrating work of struggle and of, filing petitions, going for hearings, meeting people. So we have been able to plant trees of unusual species. We have been, like I said, set up this butterfly garden and so on. And we also routinely conduct free tree cum heritage walks. They're totally free. You just have to set up a mutually convenient date and time. And we conduct them in Hindi, English, Marathi, and Gujarati. And we also have audiovisual programs to give more information about the botanical garden in schools, colleges, anywhere. And we also have curated walks for children. So we do not, of course, show them anything to do with the animals, but we show them the animals in the habitat because, there are so many bats, there are mongooses, there are butterflies, there is a pagoda ant's nest. Then we show them the chocolate tree, which is, Theobroma cacao. We show them the walking tree, which is the banyan tree. So we do have curated walks for children 7 and above. And of course, we have lots of walks for adults. Now, the very interesting thing that we want to do now, after having renamed the garden, after having given the DP designation as Botanical Garden, a very happy thing that we have done is to set up a mobile app, which is called the Mumbai Botanical Garden and Zoo app. Try to picture 48 acres, 6 kilometers of pathways, over 70 internal gardens, 4,131 trees of 256 species. How do you find a tree of your choice? So we worked with a GIS provider. This was a dream for all of us, but especially for my colleague Shubhada Nikharge and me, that we need to have a pathfinder navigational app, which will help people to find the tree of their choice. You can look at the boards, you can look at the data, but where will you find that tree of your choice? So we worked for over a year. This is a project that was jointly steered by Nagar and by the Save Rani Bagh Botanical Garden Foundation. Luckily, the BMC came on board. So it's now jointly hosted by BMC, Save Rani Bagh Botanical Garden Foundation and Nagar. It's an all-in-one place right in the palm of your hand to know everything in a nutshell. So all 256 trees are given there. All the data is from the BMC's own tree survey, which is really rather good. And the main thing is that not only do you get data about the trees and the girth of the tree, the height of the tree, the botanical name, the family name, whether it's a rare tree or not, and all that, but you are actually shown the path to go to that tree. If you're at home, you can explore everything. You can touch the tree of your choice on the screen, and then on the map, you'll see all those trees jumping up and down. It's a very attractive and very, interactive feature. Then you touch a tree, but to go to actually find the path, of course, you have to be on site. Otherwise, Rani Bagh is in the palm of your hand as per our app.